Hey guys, how are you? Good afternoon. Everybody's having a good holiday season. I want to first, we got lots of stuff to cover here as we close out 2024, but I did want to start with why Deputy Chief Kevin Chrisman is up here with me, is we wanted to get into more detail as we promised on red light cameras and give you any updates that we can and that we could take questions. I'll get some of the nuts and bolts first, and then I'll let Deputy Chief come and speak to some of those kind of bigger FAQs. Behind me, we'll show you kind of some examples. One of those FAQs we'll get to is does it take video? Does it take photos? We're going to try to address as many of those things as we can, and we're going to make these FAQs available publicly. So not just with you, the media, but we want to make sure that we're fully transparent in what the video looks like. We'll get into the myths out there, like do we shorten yellow lights that aren't true. We want to make sure that you guys are certainly, as the media, reporting accurate information, and we're not letting that myths kind of control what people actually think is happening. A few things: 3 systems are complete right now, and let me be very clear: complete does not mean they are on or that they're writing tickets to anybody. We continue to go down the road with our intent of January 1st, being that if not all of them will be up. We know for a fact that 3 of them are up. If we wanted to turn them on tomorrow, we could. We are not. So they'll start January 1st, and that will have a grace period until February 1st. So your final month, if it's important to you, as many people have reached out or commented on Facebook, if it's important to you to run red lights, then you have 1 more month to do it, where it won't cost you any money. My goal, and hopefully most people, when that their concerns, they share their concerns. My question naturally always is, which red light do you like running that this affects you? And what we want is our police going to do police work, not working at crashes. We want people to not be injured, and we want people to not be killed. And so I think those are all 3 very good things, and that's why we support this. So we're awaiting FPL to get the other ones powered up. So for the other intersections, the equipment is in place. We're just putting the final touches, and because it's a third party, we don't know exactly what day that those are going to be put up. But January 1st, we should have all of them fully ready to go before the holidays to follow our timeline. And again, just before I pass it off to Deputy Chief Chrisman, a little bit of data. Again, these are video examples of what our folks will see. I'll let him elaborate on, yet again, some other myths that only video camera is going to capture this and that a human's not going to look at it. He'll go through all of that stuff and again, answer your questions. But I think it's important to mention data. If you take the 5 intersections that we are putting equipment at, and from December 11th, 22 to December 10th, 23, at those 5 intersections, 9th and Bayou, 9th and Airport, 9th and Fairfield, 9th and Gregory, and Davis and Fairfield. Those are the 5 where there's equipment going up. We had 197 crashes from 22 to 23 in that year. 23 to 24, 180. So in the past 2 years, we've had 377 crashes. You can do the simple math. The PPD, our citizens, our visitors, every other day at one of just these 5 intersections, every other day we are dealing with a crash. Not somebody running the red light. There's hundreds of those, but an actual vehicle crash happening at these 5 intersections at least every other day on average. So again, I'll bring up Deputy Chief, who's been on top of this project since the beginning, and he can refer to some of those FAQs and again answer any questions that you have. So thank you, guys.
Good afternoon. Just to reiterate on what the mayor touched on, those 5 intersections, we didn't just grab out of the clear blue sky. We reviewed data for 10 years on traffic crashes, historic data. The vendor came in and did a study at those intersections to help us, isolate where are there issues of running red lights. And those 5 intersections were always at the top of the list for crashes, and they were certainly at the top for the red light violations when the vendor came in and did a study of just 16 hours. The numbers were astonishing, how many people are running red lights at those intersections. We talk about, over the last 2 years, 377 traffic crashes reported at those intersections. You translate that into man hours of the officers that have to go work that crash. And those size intersections, the way they're laid out, if vehicles are disabled in the roadway, one officer is not able to do that safely. So you may have at 9th and Bayou or 9th and Airport for a crash in those intersections, it may take 2 or 3 officers, and now you begin to multiply the man hours that we're spending working these crashes, and put a cost to that and see when they could be out doing other things. So our goal is to be have all the systems up and running as of January 1st. There will be a 30-day grace period where no citations are issued. How the citations will work once they go out. So as you can see from the videos that have been playing, there will be still photos as well as video captured of every violation. Once those are captured, they'll be populated into a database for our officers to view. Each and every violation has to be viewed by a police officer to confirm that the violation occurred. Once they do that, then the citation will be issued. It is a civil infraction. It does not impact the driver's license points as if you were pulled over for speeding. They're not reported to insurance. It is significantly less than if you were pulled over for running a red light witnessed by an officer right now. If you walked out of here and went to 9th and Gregory and ran that red light and an officer saw you do it, the cost is significantly less, and there would be points.
Yeah, more.
Correct. It's significantly more if you were observed by the police officer at the intersection running the light. So the red light camera citation is significantly less. You can pay it. There's no impact to your insurance, no impact to your driver's license. The reason we're doing this is try to, in line with the Vision Zero and the strategic plan of the city, to make our streets safer for everyone, our motorists, our bicyclists, and our pedestrians, is to reduce those high impact angle crashes that are caused by people running red lights. Once you receive your citation, as the process goes, once it's sent to you, it'll be issued to the registered owner of the vehicle. You will be able to go in once you receive that citation and view the photographs of the violation that shows the status of the red light, shows where the vehicle was positioned when the light turned red, shows what happened after you passed over and crossed in the intersection, and it will be additionally accompanied by a video that you can then view the entire thing. It won't be just one still photo that we're looking at. You will be able to view a video of the violation occurring. One myth is that the cameras or the systems are used to manipulate the yellow timing or the green light timing or the red light timing of the lights. That is not true. Those are controlled by our streets and DOT as to the timing of the yellow lights. These systems have absolutely no interaction or the ability to impact that timing. They don't even touch the big boxes on the side of the road that control the lights. They don't even touch those or have the ability to interact with those to do it. It is captured on a complete separate system. The violation is witnessed and captured on a complete separate system that has no impact on the timing, and we will not and have not done anything to impact those timings. Does anyone have any questions as of now?
Can you give us what's the fine amount for violation, and how does that compare to traditional police officer pulls you over?
So the fine for the red light camera violation will be $158 as opposed to it's $260-ish if an officer observes you run a red light. So around $100 discount for running the red light on the camera.
Chief, how do you get by this business of not reporting this to state authorities or others where the insurance companies mine that information? How do you avoid having the insurance companies know about these citations?
Florida allows statutorily for the implementation of red light cameras, and because of the nature of the violation, it's issued as a civil and not a uniform traffic citation issued by the state.
State statute.
Correct.
Red light cameras.
There is a state statute that controls red light cameras, correct. She had one first.
Hi, I'm Haley with WEAR News. Just curious to know more about the cost of the cameras and how they're being funded, if you could maybe touch on that.
So there's no cost to the city up front or through it. The agreement with the vendor is that there's a cost associated with each approach. If we do not meet what that costs, then the vendor is the one who loses money. They're the one who takes the risk. There is a $75 initial off the top, goes to the state of Florida from each one of these citations. The state will receive $75 and that's distributed out to them.
Let me add too, that's another one of the myths is this is a money maker, this is all that. We'll provide you the full breakdown of that $158. Like Deputy Chief said, big chunk of that goes to the state, obviously the vendor to help pay for the approaches. But my goal is to make no money off of red light cameras, because if we're making no money off of red light cameras, nobody's running red lights. This is not a profit center for us. This is complicated to deal with. It is bandwidth of our staff still to go check these violations. So you can add it up any way you want. This is not a money maker. If there is any money to be made, it will stay absolutely in public safety to the improvement of safety of either these direct intersections of the people that are enforcing them or coming to that wreck at intersections. But nonetheless, we do not approach this whatsoever. And you'll see that through both the financial breakdown. And if this is a moneymaker, then that means what you're saying is that the city is encouraging people to run red lights, which I think our actions are showing it's the opposite. So this in no way, shape, or form is going to be a significant financial model for us. And if it is, then we have bigger problems to deal with. If this becomes a financial revenue stream of any significance to the city, then we have much bigger problems to deal with that we would have to address further.
So, are there other repercussions if the person doesn't pay that fee? Is that when points get added onto the license, or what happens there?
Certainly, if that civil fine, that initial one, is not paid, it will be transitioned into a Florida Uniform Traffic Citation, just as if you were pulled over on the side of the road and issued one, which will assess points, is reported. Then if you choose not to pay that, then you run the risk of having your driver's license privilege suspended by the state. And those things, just as if you were written a ticket on an officer was standing at your window and wrote you a ticket, then those penalties do kick in.
Is there a way to contest it? My buddy drove my car, he ran the red light, I get the ticket. Is there a way to contest that?
Certainly, if an owner of a vehicle receives a citation and they were not the driver, they have the ability and will be provided the form to provide an affidavit as to who was operating the vehicle at the time of the red light violation, and then the citation will be delivered to who that person is.
Do y'all have any projections from the vendor or anything, or what kind of decrease you are expecting to see in the number?
So our goal is, and they've seen through their studies, and I don't have the studies right in front of me to quote, but generally they've seen an initial immediate 60% drop in red light violations almost instantly, and then over time an additional 60% decrease in red light violations. So as the mayor said, our goal is to have zero. I think we'd be happy to stand in front of you and say, for the past 6 months since the system's been in place, we've recorded 0 red light violations, because that means we're changing driving habits of people who see the light turn yellow and their first inclination, because they may already be speeding or doing other things, is to press the gas and try to get through that light, and you've got someone else about to cross into traffic when their light turns green, and it causes those high impact angle crashes that result in property damage, which affects your insurance for everyone, injuries, and fatalities. And those are the things we're trying to decrease. We're trying to make 0 fatalities in our city. We'd love to have 0 injuries as a result of traffic crashes in our city. So I think kind of ancillary to the red light running is if you see a yellow light, you're going to stop. Well, we hear complaints all the time at some of these roadways that people are speeding as they're approaching those. So kind of back of your mind is like, I know there's a red light camera ahead of me. I should go ahead and slow down. I should make sure I'm following at a safe distance the vehicle in front of me, so when they stop for the red light like they're supposed to, I don't run into the back of them. So hopefully there's some trickle down, as the behavior has changed of drivers of your first inclination is to run that red light and get through it and need to get to the mall or wherever you're going before you miss the sale is to drive safer before you've even reached that intersection.
Chief, is there any special certifications or training required of your officers who are doing the reviewing of the data?
They'll receive training by the vendor of the ins and outs of how the system works. My understanding of it, it's very simple. They'll receive a populated link. They'll be able to go in, click into that link, see the vehicle, see the pictures, and watch the video to determine if that is in fact a violation, to confirm whether it is or whether it isn't. And I think you can see as those videos have played, they are high definition, they are very clear. You can see the vehicle, you can see the stop bar, you can see the red light. So there's really no doubt if you receive one of these citations that the infraction occurred.
So will these cameras be in the City of Pensacola permanently, or will you have like a period of evaluation sometime in the future?
Yeah, so from the beginning, we still maintain, like anything that we do new, whether it's bringing back recycling or it's red light cameras, the expectation of the city and the police department in this case should be that we should always be observing and evolving. And so from the first day I've ever mentioned it from this dais, what we've said is we're going to take a look at it and see if it makes sense. If one that the deputy chief started to touch on, another myth out there as well, this feeds the increase of rear end crashes. Well, first, to his point, it could be that you might be speeding into that and having driving habits that aren't what we were taught and what the rules are. But also, like any change, if we took a street and added a stop sign, or we went from a two-way to a one-way, or vice versa, of course, with behavior change, there's going to be, it's new for all of us. It'll be new for me when I'm driving. There's a temporary change that could cause a temporary, blip in something, whether that's rear end crashes, whatever the case may be. Obviously, people running red lights or tickets when they're not aware that there's a camera there. But we trust the long-term empirical data that shows that they go down 60% and then 60%, and that's what we're banking on. But what you should expect from the administration is that we need, the same way that when we say we have the ability that we want to do this because this is the best thing we can do for our city and our residents. We should have the same ability even when it's not something to say, hey, we tried it and that didn't work, or it's not working at this intersection, or we need to add this intersection. So we'll continue to monitor this. I've treated this as a pilot from the beginning, and we look at this as kind of a 1-year thing. Not that it won't continue, but let's make sure it's working. We're not gonna say because we came up with an idea that's not working, we're gonna keep doing it. But I have full confidence that this will continue to work, and this will be a significant improvement. And when you really step back, forget the mechanisms and the cameras and all of that. What would we pay as a city to have no one get injured or killed? If someone said, Mayor, how much taxpayer money is it worth for no one to get killed in the intersection of the city? What would we say? I mean, what's the right number for a husband or a wife or a child to not die because someone ran a red light? What's the number? And that's not visionary. That's not pie in the sky. I mean, look at the numbers: 377 crashes at just these 5 intersections. Forget the rest. So, we'll continue to monitor it. Our team will do a great job doing that, staying on top of it, and saying, and making sure that these work. And I'll be glad to be reporting back to you. We know what the crashes have been the last 1, 2, 3, 5 years. We should be closely monitoring that, and we should see those go down as the months go forward.
Is there a limit on how many times if somebody has a big enough bank account and they just keep running and paying, is there a limit to where it expands beyond just the fine?
No, not for this system, no. I would hope that wouldn't be the case, though.
Anything else? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's yours. Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Chief. Again, what we'll be doing is we'll be posting a lot of FAQs on the city or PPD's website. And Jason will be getting those out to you guys. And certainly we'd appreciate the help, and especially in a topic like this, that we do our best to share some of those and what the facts are around some of these myths. And one other thing to point out is when I've been asked about it on radio or someone, man on the street ask me a question about this, you have to understand where we're coming from with people will say, well, what about this critique? What about this critique of this? My question usually back to them first is, which red light do you like to run? And second is, where are we coming from? I mean, we have limited resources that have huge responsibilities and obligation at our police department to keep people safe. We do not have the resources to put 2 and 3 officers at 5 intersections 24 hours a day. We do not have that. That is not good use of taxpayer money. That's not good use of our qualified police officers. So what I ask usually is, what are we, where are we at right now? So, because we like to quickly critique this concept, but my feeling is, where are we right now? Right now, we don't really have much enforcement going there at all, mainly because some of these, you take Ninth and Bayou as an example, are almost unenforceable. I mean, you could put someone there and still not be able to track that person down. So if we all understand that we're coming from a place of these are not enforceable, consistent enforceable red lights. We can't start from a place that we're enforcing them correctly now, and then now that you put cameras in, there's going to be issues. I look at it as the opposite. Right now, they are unenforced, and we've got to do something to enforce them. So, as I said, the happiest check on behalf of the taxpayer that I would ever write is if I have to write the vendor a check because nobody's running red lights. I'll happily write that check, and I would consider it a success if it costs us that money, because what is the price that we would put on no one getting hurt or killed at these intersections? So anyway, looking forward to that. Certainly we'll continue to narrate that, but I'd appreciate, and for the public out there, we will have those FAQs posted on all of those types of things, some of those myths and some of this data that we want to get out to the public. So if we don't have anything else on that, I'll run through a few other quick things. I want to thank the Escambia County Commission for the 14 parcels inside the city limits that they've conveyed over to us. And really what I see is a step in a collaborative effort that we all recognize that housing is a crisis that needs to be dealt with yesterday. And so what that means is Escambia County's got a lot of great things going on, that they're building scattered site, and they've got their initiatives, we've got our initiatives, and this inventory allows us to address some things that maybe the county would be a secondary focus, now it becomes a primary focus for us. So this is really us being hand in hand with the county and saying, we have a housing crisis on our hands, and we're not in a 10-year plan situation. We've got to do something now. So I appreciate that symbolic and literal gesture of support and collaboration with us to be able to get these 14 vacant parcels, or maybe there's a couple of them, some abandoned buildings that we can get back into the housing inventory. So very, very, very appreciative of that. You guys know from our strategic plan, it was by far the #1 issue is housing. So we want to address it, and this helps us do that. The Legacy Campus, for Baptist, the request for qualifications for decommissioning and demolition contractor closed on December 5th, and it was open for a month, and we got 16 responses, 16 qualified responses. So I'm very encouraged by that. Remember, RFQ means there's not a price. This is just who is qualified who has the credentials and the experience to take on a demolition of this size and scale. So again, with your reporting, make sure we're not saying we're about to knock it down. What we're saying is we have now have a list of qualified folks, and we had 16 put in for it. So that list will get narrowed, and from there, whether that goes to 3 or 5 or 7 or whatever the case may be, our staff and Erica Grant Cognola is working on that. When we narrow that pool, that's when we will then go out for bid for potential demolition. So, but I'm just sharing that with you because I think that's a good positive indicator that we've got significant interest in being and when you look at the list of nationally credible demolition folks, pretty much every one of them is on this list. So, so I think that's a job well done to our economic development department, our partnership with Baptist. That's what we want. We want competition, and we want people that have the capabilities to make this project happen. So, so great news there. November 23 through Pensacola International Traffic Report, overall fiscal year to date. So from October 1 to now, really those 2 months, we're up yet again 9.46% from our record-breaking year the year before, and total passenger counts up 3% in November of 24 versus November of 23. And last thing I have is just the quick sanitation and holiday closure schedule. City Hall admin offices, the community resource centers will be closed on Christmas Day, Thursday, December 26th, and then also Wednesday, January 1st, New Year's Day. And then you can look for holiday closures at Osceola, Roger Scott, Bayview Senior Center, Bayview Outdoor Pursuits. You can go to citypensacola.com and get all of those various different openings and closures. And then our monitored recycling site will be closed on December 28th, and it will reopen, weather permitting, on January 4th. And lastly, city sanitation customers will see no change of schedule the week of Monday, December 23rd, or the week of Monday, December 30th. So if you're Monday, Thursday, you're still Monday, Thursday through the holidays, and if you're Tuesday, Friday, that remains the same as well. So that is all I have, and happy to take your non-camera related questions. You can ask a camera question if you like. Okay.
That'd be a great reality show on the city website. So Mayor, with the Fricker Center, when do you expect to shut it down for the renovation?
I'll have to get more information from our team working through that of when and to what entirety it's being shut down. It's not been conveyed to me that the entire thing will be shut down for a certain amount of time, but I'm also not saying that it isn't. I know we've just in the last 60 days or so gotten to where we're getting ready to go with both of those grants, the $5.5 million and the $4 million. So we'll see lots of activity in terms of Fricker moving forward in 2025, but we can follow up with you on dates. What I can tell you, the question we can probably answer now is, are we looking at a limited closure, a full closure? We probably can't tell you yet. I'm assuming June to September or July to December. Like we probably won't know that yet until we get closer to having a shovel.
Well, the question came up at the Children's Trust Board meeting last week in regards to those after-school programs.
Yes.
And they paused your Parks Department contract till they could find out what the effects of those activities that they're involved with the Children's Trust program.
Yeah, as I said, I'll have to get back. Nothing's come across my desk that it's closing in 3 months or anything like that that I'm aware of, but I don't want to speak too soon. So let us, we'll follow back up with that and either come back to you next week or we'll get with you beforehand.
Mayor, so on the MLK Plaza, I spoke with Mike Wood yesterday, and I'm sure you're aware Dan Linderman went to the city council on Thursday and talked about being issued a warning for being in the park after dark. I guess Officer Wood said that the city hasn't issued any citations in the park, but I guess is there any hard and fast rules that you know of if you're in MLK Park that after dark if you would get a citation?
Well, we have hard and fast rules about our parks as a whole, and obviously we plan on enforcing those. What I think has been brought to light, which there's the nooks and crannies of ordinance and interpretation and everything else throughout the city in every department that we have, and certainly this nook and cranny of this issue has us looking at MLK Plaza as is it? And I'm asking this. It's the conversations we're having. Is this a walkway? Is this an actual park itself? How do we delineate between? So first of all, I appreciate what our officers do down there every day. So whatever the case may be, and as upset as Dan may be about that, I ask our officers to keep us safe, and they have rules that they follow. If there's some interpretation need to be made, as we've notified to him and to Councilman Moore, that we need to look at that, then that's what we're doing. And I think that's a fair, request, is to because we have, again, some of these gray areas. MLK Plaza is not Bayview Park, at night, we understand that. But I want to get with our police department, make sure I understand it, before we just say, we had this one instance in however many years, let's just change it, but we're open to it. And I guess I would echo what I said about red light cameras. Our job should always be, if there's an inefficiency, if there's something that doesn't make practical sense, it should be our goal to solve that, and we're happy to look at that. No, we don't want, the goal of our rule of parks closing at night is not to stop someone from commuting through at night. Of course, that's not our policy, but as it stands, that is a park, and there are rules, and all our officers simply did was adhere to those rules. So anyway, just one of those kind of confusing situations, and certainly as we've indicated to Councilman Moore and to Dan, that we'll look into that, and if there's a more efficient way to do it, we will. Anything else? We didn't wear you out with the red light cameras, did we? Okay, thank you guys. If I don't see you before, happy holidays, and thank you guys so much.